Everybody, what's going on? All right, so this first of all, it's not scripted. It's coming off the top, but I'm trying to keep it organized in my mind. So right now, this see the little hand? I have it on the protein one. Protein, and it's not that crazy. It's kicking in. Protein. I learned more. I was competing a long time, and I learned a little bit from trainers, coaches, and then different courses I took. Military got into different courses, so I got heavier into heavier nutrition, supplemental and this nutrition. Protein itself. There's two big man. There's two big things that stand out for me. Once I learned them, it's the proteins for healthy muscle. If your muscle's not healthy, your body's not healthy. It won't be. Then the other big one, protein makes white blood cells. Those white blood cells that fight infection. So if your protein is low, your infection fighting is low from the very beginning. That's this huge part of immunity. But other than that, the company itself is a health resource. These videos, there's about 100 of these. It's a health resource, internal health resource, free to see. When I put out the tour link is free. Give me a name and first initial, something like that. I mean, first name and initial, whatever. And they can send you this for free. Other than that, it's a huge health resource. And the more we know, the better we can be long term.
Is different and it has different even release mechanisms. The time release is a little bit different between whey and plant. So you're not just giving your body a giant bolus of protein or therefore amino acids, because what happens is when you consume the protein, what's happening in your stomach is the proteases and such, they're all in there to break down the protein, and they're going to break them down and free them up into their individual amino acids, and then the individual amino acids are what absorb really through the small intestine into the bloodstream. They circulate and they kind of reassemble, or they trigger mechanisms, right? They trigger other things. So you need these amino acids in circulation, especially the 9 essential amino acids. So in a whole food, I don't know what there is. There's 20 plus amino acids in a whole food
20
on average. But 9 are essential, which means we have to supplement, meaning get them from somewhere else, get them outside of our body. So whole food or supplement form. When you do not get all 9 essential aminos, your body will be searching and looking for the other essentials, because it does need them in concert, right, all together. And that's what the problem is on the BCAAs, right? When you just take branched chain amino acids, which is your leucine, isoleucine, and valine, just those 3 by themselves, it's potentially, and I'd say it's theoretical, but it's sort of been proven that it can cause more damage, it can more harm than good, because it can break down. It needs the others.
Yeah.
It needs the others. The body all of a sudden is, oh crap, I have a bunch of this, but I need all of it together to be able to make. And why is this all important, guys? This is all important for muscle protein synthesis, right? It's those 3 words. And that's the idea, is that the body is in a state of muscle protein synthesis. It is building muscle, right? It is preserving muscle. And this is not that giant oversized muscle, big time hypertrophy where you're all jacked up. This is just your normal healthy body composition of muscle that your body wants to have as long as you're active and you're loading it. If you're walking enough throughout the day, or you're lifting a little bit of weight, but you're certainly moving and you're not sedentary, your body wants to do that. That's the normal biological process. And so that's the key, muscle protein synthesis. Now, your body will, after a period of time in fasting, will start to break back down, and that's a normal process as well. So that's one of the reasons why I love the essential amino acids, because they're in free form. Free form amino acids, it's a way to supplement. I don't want to say to trick the body, because that's not what's happening, but you're telling the body, hey, here's the amino acids, and you're really basically getting no calories with it, so it can kind of be done. You can answer to this, but can it be done in a fasted state? So you have these essential amino acids that keep the body sort of in that muscle protein synthesis state, and the fuel the body needs. And as a reminder, this isn't just about the body's muscle. It's also because the amino acids are very, 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 very critical to building up our neurotransmitters. I mean, you guys certainly know that there's tryptophan, as an example, right, as a precursor to be serotonin, and a lot of our neurotransmitters depend on amino acids, right? Our hormones depend on amino acids. So now you're getting into the sleep, the stress, the mood,
Sure.
right? The energy, all these different things. Whereas protein hasn't necessarily been viewed as an energy macronutrient, but it certainly does have, it plays a very important role in that, because of, again, all these critical precursors. That's what's really cool about the essential amino acids, and having all 9 essential together, again, very important.
And did you mention, sorry, that the fact that they're free form, we don't break? Okay.
Yeah, I did free form.
We don't break them down.
You're not breaking them down. Your gut isn't necessarily looking to do the
do anything.
digestive process the same way.
Right. So while you're talking about that, I want to jump into the autophagy before you go too
Sure.
far, because you mentioned both. So, or sorry, he mentioned fasting. Will these essential aminos break a fast? Now, if you are fasting specifically for autophagy, right? That's basically like a strict water fast. These essential aminos will break that fast because it's giving your body the amino acids. But if you're fasting for like the digestion, right? Give your digestive system a break, which I always say should be at least 12 hours, so your body can do other things. Which we're supposed to do other things. That's why you fast when you're sleeping, right? It's like when you're repairing. So much is going on during that state. So if you're fasting for those purposes, as well as to help maybe decrease calories or control what you're eating throughout the day, essential aminos are wonderful, right? Because of what Dr. Ryan had just explained. They really help during that fasted state, so we're not pulling from the muscle. And this is how I use them. When I wake up in the morning, I'm taking these about 5 o'clock in the morning. I am not yet in a 12-hour fast because I'm finishing eating dinner between 6 and 7. So let's just say 7. So my real 12 hours would be till 7 a.m. But I'm actually not eating anything until probably between like the 9 and 10. But I'm having my essential aminos for sure. I'm preserving that muscle mass. I'm making sure that my fast is done in a healthy way. But you want to know the number one thing? I'm just going to slide in there for autophagy. If that's what your goal is, exercise. Building muscle. Stressing the body. So
real quick on the essential aminos, so it is important to understand there is a ratio, right? In the whole food world, in the animal kingdom, there's a ratio of amino acids that is very important. You have to recognize that, and we do recognize that throughout. And that's what we did. So the leucine, for an example, the leucine in particular needs to be a certain percentage-wise higher than the other essential amino acids. So as a ratio, leucine should be higher, and we've definitely done that.
Sure. And if you also don't know, what else did you add in here? Because it's beyond the 9 essential.
The arginine and citrulline.
And glutamine.
Yeah, glutamine. So non-essential amino acids, but they are, again, awesome essential amino acids. Sorry, the amino acids, they're really great for nitric oxide synthesis.
Right, and muscle. But
so just one more thing too, like talk about full transparency. If you look on the back of both bags, you'll see amino acid profile per serving. You will see exactly the analysis of how much of each amino acid in there. And leucine in a plant is 1.768 grams. Leucine in the whey is 2.157 grams. So that makes sense. Whey tends to have a little bit more of a higher ratio. Again, kind of that gold standard, but plant-based is still a suitable alternative.
Right. Yeah, so, I will get the question often about like, oh, well, I see there's amino acids added to the protein powders. Do I need to take essential aminos too? These are the amino acid profile of the food. If this is the protein powders itself. If you want to consider it's a food supplement, so that's the profile. They're not added to.
That was us just going for full transparency. I don't think many people recognize
That's almost like if you go and you buy a steak and it lists on there the amino acid profile of the steak. Sure. It's not going to do that, but that's the same thing. So. And each of these are only 100 calories, or like 100, 100 for 20 grams of protein. So when we talk about closing the gap, this is a big deal. These help tremendously to reach your protein goals, right? Really, and again, you can have these. I think it's great to have them in between meals, right? This is your snack, or again with a meal to help get that protein content up.
Or you can make protein ice cream. You can do protein muffins, protein pancakes.
Right.
What else do you do?
Like I said, I put it in like yogurt or cottage cheese.
You put it in your coffee.
I love the chocolate in the coffee.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of stuff you can do. Now, don't get fooled though, because a lot of these brands, these big food brands, have gotten into the protein trend mostly around the GLP-1s, right? They're trying to keep up with the trends. But it's real catchy. Get your protein, but you don't really want to get your protein from candy, right? It's basically still
a lot of protein
chips, or just junk food, right? So be careful with the composition of food.
Right, but use the protein powders to make your own stuff. Like you're saying, protein ice cream.